Egypt is in a state of emergency after bombings killed dozens of people Sunday morning. We'll update you with that and the latest events in Syria.
And California is looking at its first gas tax increase in 23 years. We'll tell you what that money is going towards coming up on State of Events. Good morning, I'm Vanessa Ariola.
And I'm Katie Welge. Our top story today, United Airlines is under fire after the airline physically removed a man from his seat on an overbooked flight, injuring the passenger. United's stock is down 4% and the company faces major PR crisis as the hashtag boycott United goes viral. Video footage of cops in Chicago forcibly dragging a United passenger from his seat have tens of millions of views, both here in the U.S. and in China. Passenger David Dow was pulled across the armrest and dragged down the aisle by his arms. United asked for volunteers to give up their seat to 4 employees who needed to be in Louisville, but then used random selection when there was no takers.
New York will be the first state to offer free tuition for state four-year colleges in the city and state university systems. Lawmakers passed a bill approving the measure, which comes with a catch. Graduates must spend 4 years after graduation working in New York City or have to pay the money back, unless they are leaving the state for a graduate degree or military services. Families earning more than $100,000 will not qualify for the free tuition.
A shooting in an elementary school in Bakersfield left a teacher and an 8-year-old boy and the gunman dead. The gunman shot his estranged wife in what was believed to be a domestic dispute before turning the gun on himself at North Park Elementary School in San Bernardino, California. Cedric Anderson walked into his wife Karen Smith's special needs classroom and opened fire. The classroom had 15 students ranging from 1st to 4th grade and 2 teacher aides. Jonathan Martinez, an 8-year-old boy, was near his teacher when her husband opened fire. Martinez and 9-year-old boy were both struck. Both were airlifted to Loma Linda University Medical Center. Martinez was pronounced dead at the hospital while the 9-year-old boy is in stable condition. It is not immediately clear what led to the alleged murder-suicide. The school is expected to be closed until Wednesday.
The U.S. military has ordered a Navy strike to the Korean Peninsula. This comes amid growing concerns about the North Koreans' missile test. The U.S. Pacific Command describes the order as a measure to maintain readiness in the region. And President Trump is planning to redefine America's relationship with China after a meeting with the Chinese president in Florida.
And Syria and Egypt were the latest countries that suffered terrorist attacks. Reporter Majestique Bellamy joins us in the studio with this and more world news.
Thanks, ladies. An airstrike targeted a town in Syria that was hit by a chemical attack earlier last week, killing at least 80 people. And the long battle between the Christians and the Islamic State in Egypt took a deadly turn on Palm Sunday, resulting in parts of the country not celebrating Easter this Sunday. A second airstrike has been launched one day after President Trump ordered missiles to a Syrian base. It was ordered to send a message to the Assad regime about their use of chemical weapons.
There can be no dispute that Syria used banned chemical weapons, violated its obligations under the Chemical Weapons Convention, and ignored the urging of the UN Security Council.
Trump also states that he ordered the first strike to the Syrian base because the U.S. believes that is where the aircraft that carried out the chemical attack was launched. U.S. officials say about 20 planes were destroyed in the first strike. The new strike came as Syria's ally Russia sent cruise missiles to a port in Syria in response to the U.S.'s actions. Russia pledges to help strengthen Syrians' air defense and claims the U.S. has no evidence Syria has chemical weapons. The U.S. is now investigating Russia's involvement in the chemical attack. ISIS claimed responsibility for the bombing that happened at 2 Coptic churches in Egypt, killing at least 44 attendees and wounding over 100 individuals. This occurred on one of the most important days on the Christian calendar, Palm Sunday. The first explosion happened in the city of Tanta. The explosive device seemed to have been planted under a seat in the main prayer hall. Shortly after that, another bomb went off at a church in the city, Alexandria. The Egyptian president has declared a 3-month state of emergency. The bombings comes days after the President Trump welcomed Egypt President Sisi to Washington and comes weeks before an expected visit by Pope Francis in Cairo. Trump has expressed his support for Egypt and his confidence that President Sisi will handle the situation. Stay tuned to State of Events next week as we follow more world news. I'm Majestique Bellamy. Back to you at the desk.
Bike theft is an ongoing headache for San Francisco riders, but a local bike store wants to eliminate bike theft and has a unique plan to make bikes that are almost impossible to steal.
Chloe Ortega talked to Mission Bicycles in San Francisco, who are creating innovative bikes to help reduce the chances of getting your bike lost or stolen forever.
It's a fear many cyclists have.
Kept checking, and then I checked again within 10 or 15 minutes of being there, and it was gone.
His bike stolen.
I probably had $2,500 into that bike.
Eric Stahl is just one of thousands who has lost his bike to theft.
One of the reasons why bikes are so tempting to steal is because the thing that you're stealing is actually the getaway vehicle.
Mission Bicycles in San Francisco is hoping to change that.
A GPS tracking device, so small that it'll actually fit inside the frame. And that is going to enable us to pull out our phone at any time and see where our bike is located, should we be separated.
In case thieves find the battery that powers the GPS, not to worry, there's a backup.
So if the battery were to run down or somebody were to find it and remove it, the backup battery is permanently installed in the frame, so it can't be removed.
Mission Bicycles is not only innovative with the security detail of their bikes, but with the appearance and safety elements as well, like these lights. They not only look good, but they can help enhance safety on the road at night.
At first glance, you might not notice that this bike has lights, but with a click of a button, you'll see that the lights are inside the fork. They're easy to see, but hard to steal.
If your bike does get stolen and you have the ability to track it, what should you do next?
If there's a way for you to track your property and provide that opportunity for us to get the item back, we would love to do that. And it's much safer for the police to facilitate that transaction instead of you going after someone who had just committed a crime.
SFPD says bike theft has increased over the years.
Because it's such a common method of transportation for many people, and people leave their bikes unattended outside when they go inside a shop or something like that, it leaves an opportunity for criminals to capitalize on it.
If you are considering getting a bike from Mission Bicycles, the price range starts from $999. You can learn more information on the State of Events Facebook page. From San Francisco, I'm Chloe Ortega, State of Events.
Electric cars are one of the eco-friendly ways for people to travel, but cars powered by the sun might be coming sooner than we think. State of Events reporter Anna Marie Torre shows us the future of potential of automotives.
Cars are one of the most essential forms of transportation, and members of the Solar Electrical Vehicle Team, or SEVT, at San Francisco State University are finding new ways to power their cars.
This car will sit in the sun, charge its battery pack, and the battery pack is made up of more than 400 very small A123 lithium-ion batteries.
The Innovation Solar Car project started off as a community project by David Kaditz, and soon members of the SF State community became involved, with dreams of taking their skills and talents to competitive engineering events.
The reason why I wanted to make this team as well was showing that SF State has these students that can accomplish something like this. There's a lot of high-end universities around, scattered throughout the Bay Area that have solar electric vehicle teams. And I was just thinking in my head, like, why doesn't SF State have it?
The whole goal of engineering is basically to think of an idea, design the idea, and then make it real. It's like the most incredible process.
SEVT hopes to leave a mark for future generations and dreams for them to continue their legacy.
Even the legacy for other students, making it something that students can get involved with and learn outside of class.
Cars right now currently depend on fossil fuels, while the hope is that cars of the future will depend more on the sun. If you want to learn more about this organization, be sure to check out the State of Events Facebook page. In San Francisco, Anna Marie Torrea reporting for State of Events.
And in our business and technology roundup this week, Bill O'Reilly is feeling the pressure from advertisers.
And millennials have a new tool to unplug. From cable, Yulani Gray joins us with the latest. Yulani?
Thank you, Katie. First off, in business news, Bill O'Reilly didn't factor the power of advertisers jumping ship. Breaking news of allegations of sexual harassment and silent payoffs led to the mass withdrawal of ads on his show. The New York Times reported Fox had paid 5 women a total of $13 million in settlements. The O'Reilly factor is down more than 60 advertisers, and the list keeps growing. Fox News parent company 21st Century Fox is opening an investigation into these claims. Next up, millennials have another tool in cutting the cord. YouTube is creating music to the ears of cord cutters with their new YouTube TV. Most young people have already made the switch from traditional TV to streaming services. This is YouTube's attempt to connect the world's most popular streaming platform with the programming of traditional television. For a $35 fee, subscribers will have access to the 4 major broadcast networks and a bundle of 40 cable channels. When it launches, the service will only be available in Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, and the San Francisco Bay Area. Tesla is now closing in on GM to be America's most valuable automaker. When trading wrapped up on Wall Street Monday, Silicon Valley automaker Tesla stopped just short of 2 major milestones, a market value of $50 billion and bragging rights as America's most valuable company. Ford and GM were both down in the market due to concerns of a slowdown in new car purchases. It's a bird, no, it's a plane, and usually those two things don't go together. Clear Flight Solution has created a row bird that looks like a rapture bird, and its sole job is to keep birds away from planes. It flies by flapping its wings and steers up by using its tail fins. It can even glide. Birds are the cause of a lot of engine issues in airplanes, and airports pay a pretty penny to keep the area around airports clear. Birds are territorial, so when the row bird flies in the area, the other birds stay away. From row birds to teleservice bots, artificial intelligence is easing into customer service and HR help desks. You run it like a traditional service desk. The user sends a request through a service assistant, which is the guy right here. You can either have a human respond or consumers can receive an automated response from the bot to answer the questions quickly and accurately. That's it for this week's Business Tech. I'm Uilani Gray. Back to you at the desk.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll talk about the gas tax rise and we'll tell you how much more you'll be paying per gallon.
Take a look at this live shot out over the Golden Gate Bridge. Mostly cloudy skies today, even reports of a few drizzles, but the real rain is on the way. When you can expect that after the break.
Welcome back to State of Events.
Even though it's spring, the winter storms aren't done just yet. We're going to send it over to our meteorologist, Tessa Kleinbell, to tell us if we'll have more of this rain and wind or if we're in the clear. Tessa?
Thanks, Vanessa. I hope you enjoyed the small taste of spring weather we had this past weekend because the cloudy skies are back, and right now temperatures around the Bay Area on the cooler side. Let's take a look at our highs for the day. 59 degrees in Pacifica, 67 down in Mountain View and San Jose, a high of 66 in Concord and Fremont, and up in Santa Rosa, high of 59 degrees. So expect a lot of clouds with some light drizzle the next few days. Temperatures ranging in the 60s, but the real storm is going to move in Wednesday night into Thursday morning. So it's nothing too severe for the Bay Area. The system's headed north of us, so expect ½ an inch to an inch of rain, and then it'll clear out by Thursday morning, just in time for our weekend. Speaking of rain totals, though, some areas north of us are only a few inches away from setting record highs. That storm Wednesday night will add to the count, so when I see you next time, we may have some historical rainfall records to talk about from this wet winter season that just does not seem to be going away. I'll send it back to Vanessa and Katie.
California Governor Jerry Brown declared an end to the state's drought emergency on Friday. After powerful storms quenched the state, California was in a drought for 4 years that devastated forests and farmland and forced millions of people to slash their water use. While California may be out of a drought, officials insisted they're holding on to some conservation rules for the 40 million residents of the most populous state.
Wells Fargo's board said on Monday that it would claw back an additional $75 million from the 2 executives that the company pointed their finger towards during the bank scandals over fraudulent accounts last September. The forced return of pay and stock grants are the largest in banking history and among the biggest in corporate America. The board issued that John Stumpf had ignored fraud accounts and that Carrie Tolstad, who ran the bank branch system, had focused on sales targeted with withheld information. While the money amount customers lost was relatively small, the company had refunded $3.2 million. 5,300 bankers were fired for creating as many as 2 million unwanted bank and credit card accounts, which possibly could be traced back to 2004.
There are 2 new bills in the Senate and in the House of California aimed at the elimination of the entire bail bond industry. This comes at the same time as a historic case involving bail unfolds. $35 million, that's how much one woman had to pay to get out of jail. Matt Fowler has a story.
How much would you pay to get out of jail? $1 million? $2 million? Well, one woman, Tiffany Lee, paid $35 million to get out of jail. And that is raising questions about the bail system in America and our justice system as a whole. By all outward appearances, Tiffany Lee and Keith Green looked happy, but prosecutors say their relationship took a deadly turn. Lee is accused of murdering Green with the help of her boyfriend, Kabe Byatt, and their friend Oliver Adela. But this is not your typical homicide case. Lee was given a historic $35 million bail, the highest bail in the history of California. $4 million of that she put up in cash, and $62 million with the help of friends and family in the form of property bonds. The president of Golden State Bail Agents Association, Tobo Padilla, explains to us the intricacies of this case.
So the family put up 2 times the amount of the bond in equity and real property, and they guaranteed her appearance in court. Basically, they set it that high because they did not want her to get out. They do not want her to be released because they feel she will flee if she's released. Now, if she does flee, are they going to be able to catch her? Well, that remains to be seen, but the fact of the matter is San Francisco is going to have $35 million in the state of California's coffers. So is it about making that person appear in court, or is it about money?
Lee's attorney does not seem fazed by the exorbitant amount of the bond.
There are other bails and not in this county, it's unprecedented, but other places in the country, bails have been made like this before. So it's not quite unprecedented.
Regardless of the trial result, this case has stirred up its fair share of controversy and debate about the bail system in America. There are 2 bills in the House and Senate aimed at eliminating the bail system. The alternative is pretrial release. Advocates of this say that it will eliminate discrimination based on wealth, but the reality is judges can release any defendant presently for any reason. So it's a philosophical difference between those that want bail and those that don't. I'm Matt Fowler for State of Events.
President Trump's executive orders to crack down on illegal immigration has millions of undocumented immigrants living in fear. What does my future hold is the question many of them are asking. State of Events reporter Karen Cordero investigates.
Immigration Customs Enforcement Agency, open the door, please.
These are the words undocumented immigrants living in the U.S. never want to hear. Now that President Trump has empowered federal agents to round up and deport undocumented immigrants in the country, SFSU student, whom we'll call Elena, worries about her family's future.
I have siblings, they have me. I'm the oldest, so the responsibility falls on me. But then I'm also undocumented. So I know that worries my parents a lot. With getting deported and being separated and what's going to happen to the younger ones, to the business. If the government is going to take away everything that, they've worked for very hard.
Like many kids, her parents brought her here illegally when she was just 2, and after years of waiting for some type of immigration reform to happen, Trump's plan to hire 15,000 new ICE agents makes waiting even more uncertain.
Though the executive order signed by President Trump prioritized to deport those with criminal records, immigration experts say that anyone who is undocumented is at risk and recommend to have some sort of legal help on standby.
Undocumented people, again, against popular belief, they do have equal rights in this country. So we as a nonprofit, we provide free legal services if you live and work in San Francisco for certain cases. We are granted under the California Department of Social Services as well as the City and County of San Francisco and the County of San Mateo. So if you are a student at SF State, we have a grant specifically for students here.
In San Francisco, Karen Cordero, State of Events.
California lawmakers had their hands full over the weekend. State of Events Abone Clayton is here with the 2 new bills passed by the state Senate and a single-payer health care bill that is in the works.
Thanks, Vanessa. The California State Senate approved a gas tax that the LA Times says will raise the price of a gallon by 30 cents. They also approved the controversial sanctuary state bill that has had California and President Trump at odds for months. And as for the single-payer health care bill introduced in February, supporters are fighting an uphill battle without the support of Governor Brown. Critics of the gas tax say it will hurt low-income residents, but Governor Brown says it will help everyone.
Their cars aren't going to get as broken as they are under our bad roads. A lot of them are going to get jobs, and it's part of the prosperity of California. We can't be a third world country with crummy roads.
Governor Brown says finding money to fix our roads is a huge and hard-fought victory. But one thing he says Californians cannot afford, single-payer health care. With the future of national health care uncertain, 2 California state senators propose a bill requiring the state to cover medical expenses for residents regardless of citizenship.
We now more than ever continue to pay more and get less.
We're going to make it a reality in California. We are going to claim our own destiny.
In the spirit of claiming its own destiny, California is one step closer to sanctuary state status. Representative Todd McClintock says no state has been this defiant since the Civil War.
What we're seeing is the doctrine of nullification in which states that don't like federal law simply ignore it.
The president's threats to take away federal funding are looming over the state, but local governments aren't convinced that he can follow through.
After talking to attorneys about this issue and various groups, people don't see this as a reality. They just see this as one of those empty threats.
The sanctuary state bill is now in the Assembly, and if it passes this final step, local law enforcement will not be allowed to investigate someone's immigration status or detain them because of said status. Opposition maintains that stopping police involvement in immigration matters will make California an unsafe state. I'm Abene Claytons for State of Events. Back to you at the desk.
Coming up next on State of Events, I'll sit down with SF State basketball head coach Paul Trevor for an exclusive interview about the Gators' historic season.
And sports reporter Justin McCarthy will join us at the desk to talk about why you won't see some of the NHL's biggest stars on the world's biggest stage. Joining me at the desk is our sports reporter Justin McCarthy. I hear there's some NHL news going on in the hockey world.
Yeah, it's a cold, cold world for the NHL. The 2018 Winter Olympics are taking place in Pyeongtaek, South Korea. While people are excited about the return of bobsledding and curling, it's ice hockey fans who may be getting the short end of the stick.
For the first time since 1998, the National Hockey League and its players will not participate in the upcoming Winter Olympics. The decision stems from the NHL's desire to not have a 4-week break in their 2017-18 season schedule, which would accommodate the Olympic Games, but also hurt the NHL's TV revenue during that season. Also, with growing concerns over players' safety, the NHL announced that they consider the matter officially closed, but players are not accepting the NHL's decision.
We have no say in the matter, and it's very unfortunate for the game of hockey around the world that they're going to do this to the sport.
It's disappointing. Everybody wants to play in those games and have the chance to represent your country in a tournament or an event like that.
Understandably, this is disappointing to NHL fans who want to see the best of the best compete on a global level. But it will give the spotlight to players who wouldn't normally have the opportunity to display their talents for their country. And man, I'm a little disappointed. I'm a hockey fan. I want to see Ovechkin out there playing for Russia. I want to see Marc-Edouard Vlasic from the Sharks play for Canada, but looks like it's not going to happen. But it could happen. The 2017-18 schedule's not out yet, so there's still hope.
I know.
Crossing my fingers.
Let's hope that the Sharks don't allow this to happen.
Yeah.
Do the Raiders have some possible competition when it comes to looking at retired Seahawks running back Marshawn Lynch? According to recent updates, the New England Patriots have privately expressed interest in the Oakland native if talks with the Raiders can't be made into a contract. Lynch visited the Raiders facilities last week to explore the possibility of a comeback after a one-year retirement from the NFL. Before the star running back could sign with any team at all, Lynch must apply to come off the reserve and retired list. Therefore, the Seahawks must then determine what plan of action they will take, as Lynch has 2 years left on his contract. Also, in terms of compensation and the $2.5 million in bonus money. We'll keep you up to date as we follow the story and details continue to unfold. The Gators basketball team had a historic season, including the best record in program history and the first time the team made a NCAA tournament since 1994. I'm going to throw it to Vanessa Ariola, who is with Coach Paul Trevor right now to speak on their special year. Vanessa.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches announced the 2017 NABC Coaches Division II All-District Teams and Coaches, recognizing the best of the best for D2. Today I have a special guest, SF State men's basketball head coach Paul Trevor. Paul, thank you so much for coming this morning.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
So I just wanted to say congrats on the award for the region co-coach of the year. It's your 7th season here with the Gators. And what do these accomplishments mean for you and the team?
Well, from the team standpoint, it means that we've finally put San Francisco State on the map in the basketball world. We've been trying to get to the NCAA tournament, trying to knock down that wall, and we've finally done that. Individually, it's an incredible accomplishment to be voted on. It's by your peers throughout the West region, and it's something that, you know, I've never expected to get, but just to get it just feels so good. It feels great.
And you led the team, who were 22nd overall, to a record of 25-6. The best in the modern era, as we all said it was, and the most wins since the 1939 to 1940 season. So just give us a secret of what was in the Swamp this season.
The Swamp was a lot of good, high character guys who cared about each other. I mean, just throughout the year, they really they sacrificed a lot for each other. They were very committed, and I couldn't be more proud. So that was in the Swamp, and no one wanted to play there. We were 13-1 in the Swamp.
Right.
Yeah, no one wanted to come into the Swamp.
No one wanted to come over here.
Yeah.
So speaking of, a couple of the players, do you see any changes for next season? I know you have Warren Jackson returning, but you do have a couple of people leaving. So how do you plan to adjust for that?
Well, with the loss of Coley Apse and Nick Calcaterra, AJ Colon, and the seniors, it's going to be very difficult to replace that leadership. Those guys brought it every day. They competed, they set the tone, and that's going to have to be handed down to the next generation.
Right.
And as a coach, that's my job to groom them and get them into that mode. And we're getting there right now.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll show you how one New Jersey State trooper leaped into action. And if you don't have plans for Easter weekend, don't worry. We'll tell you some of the events going on nearby. Welcome back to State of Events. Controversial ads, celebrity newborns, and award shows keep the entertainment world spinning. State of Events' Dwayne Hibbert has a story.
Actor Bradley Cooper and supermodel Irina Shayk welcomed their first child together. The parents began dating in April 2015. Us Weekly confirmed Shayk was expecting since last November. Congratulations, Cooper and Shayk. Pepsi's new ad featuring Kendall Jenner is leaving a bad aftertaste. According to ABC, the 2.5-minute video shows Kendall at a photo shoot. She notices protesters passing by. The model joins her peers, handing a police officer a Pepsi, concluding the protest. Pepsi and Kendall were quickly thrown overboard by the social media wave as angry tweets flooded their boats. The ad was then shut down and all production corresponding to it. I see a That's So Raven spinoff in the near future. Actress Raven-Symoné left her position on The View to develop a new project. According to Variety, the actress is teaming up with Disney Channel to create the show Raven's House. Raven will also be standing as the executive producer of the show. It is set to release later this year. The MTV Movie Awards returns with a profound group of nominees. The Best Picture Oscar winner Moonlight received 3 nominations, including Best Kiss. Ellen DeGeneres and RuPaul Charles received nominations for the Best Host category. RuPaul's Drag Race has been nominated for Best Reality TV Show. And This Is Everything, Gigi Gorgeous, the story of transgender YouTube star Gigi Lozerato, is nominated for Best Documentary. Congrats, nominees, and may the odds be ever in your favor. That's it for your entertainment tea. I'm Dwayne Hibbert in San Francisco, State of Events.
San Francisco's Japantown is the oldest Japanese district in the country, and every year thousands of people come together to celebrate Japanese culture at the annual Cherry Blossom Festival in San Francisco. Ashman Ram has the story.
In Japanese culture, cherry blossoms represent the fragility and beauty of life. Northern California's Cherry Blossom Festival is the largest Japanese festival on the West Coast. San Francisco's Japantown kicked off its 50th Golden Celebration to celebrate Japanese culture. Japanese culture is celebrated through rituals of martial arts, the singing of Japanese songs, in sharing and showing the practice of traditional Japanese tea ceremony, and also the authentic dishes of Japanese food. In addition, this year, artists from Japan flew in to perform dances at the 2017 Cherry Blossom Festival in San Francisco. The Grand Parade will take place this weekend to honor a tradition that started in 1968 to celebrate the alliance between Japan and the United States.
And if you're still looking for events for this Easter weekend, we have a few for you.
Any chocolate lovers can make their way to Ghirardelli Square for their Easter festival this Saturday afternoon. Or if you're near Golden Gate Park, Spring Meadow will have their annual Spring Extravaganza Carnival.
And Easter morning on Union Street, there will be a parade and a celebration starting on Gough Street. A New Jersey state trooper found himself in an unexpected situation last Thursday morning when he responded to a car that had pulled over on the highway to find a pregnant woman unable to make it to the hospital on time. The expecting mother was being driven to the hospital by a friend when Trooper Christopher Gisaldo arrived on the scene after responding to her 911 call to find the woman in the back seat ready to give birth. The officer's dash cam footage caught some of what had happened. Within minutes, the baby girl was delivered and Officer Gisaldo had completed a job well done. Mom and baby girl were transported by ambulance to a nearby hospital where they are doing well. And that does it for State of Events today. I'm looking forward to this Easter weekend and trying to get outside. Do you have any plans?
I think we usually go to a family ranch up by like Lincoln. So I think we're going to do that. It's good Easter hunts, horseback riding, fun things like that. What about you?
I'm just going to try to get outside and enjoy, the weather with my family, which should
Hopefully
be pretty nice.
As well.
Yes, let's hope so.
Well, that is it for today. I'm Vanessa Ariola.
And I'm Katie Welge.
Thank you for joining us.